We're finally getting into the Caesar shit that I'm like really stoked about.
After 6 episodes?
It was world building. It was necessary.
It took 6 episodes to world build?
Yeah.
Okay.
You gotta lay the groundwork. That was all the prologue. Now we're getting into the main chunk of the
story.
Now we're
getting into
the meat and potatoes.
Nitty gritty. Sorry, I was testing the levels, but I don't have my headphones on.
Yeah, I decided to go without cans this time also. And just
you look cute without the headphones.
Just raw dogging.
Iconoblast, we put the past on blast. Hit them with the truth, with things you never knew. Nobody is safe, no thing to place. Got Joel and Coop with history in your face. Iconoblast.
So if you push one of those buttons, it's going to do something, but we can't hear it because we're not wearing cans on our ears.
Well, I've got the level on that dropped all the way down, so even if I press one of these buttons, it wouldn't do anything.
But if you turn the level up and then push the button, it'd make a sound effect?
Yes.
Do it.
I don't know how
long. And have Longshanks see you do it.
Okay, so my guess, and actually we're not gonna know if
this
is right or
not
until you cut it together. My guess is this is the crickets.
Perhaps one of the most interesting words in the English language today is the word fuck.
It
could have been anything.
It really could have been anything. There's a few different sounds pre-programmed onto that. I think one of them is like cheering. Another one is Twilight Zone style music. Then there's crickets.
Masturbating sound.
No, I took that one off.
Turn that volume back down now, just in case.
No, it's not going to play unless I've got trigger discipline. These aren't going to play. This is my safety. I should probably just do the intro and we'll get into this because I'm actually excited about the stuff we're going to be talking about in this episode.
Let's do it. Wait, you weren't excited before?
Isn't
this your favorite place to be in the world?
Well, yeah, it is, but we had to get through the world building stuff before we could get in. Because the reason that I actually got into Caesar in the first place, true story, the reason I got really stoked on Caesar is because of a game called Total War.
Oh, I remember.
It's a strategy game, and it's actually one of the best strategy games that I've ever played. And it had a campaign in it that was Caesar in Gaul.
Did you get to be Caesar?
Yeah. That's you were cool. You played as Caesar, and it, obviously, since there's freedom.
Did he have a voice? How was his voice?
I don't remember. Most likely it was just some British guy doing the voice. I can't remember. It's been over a year now since I actually played it. I was actually once I started getting into the Gaul part of the series, I thought about going back and playing the campaign again. But then for one, I remembered that since you have freedom to do whatever you want, it's not going to play out the same way.
But you could, since you know the story, you could try to
follow the same path. But I would have to make sure that I win and lose the proper battles, or else it's not going to match up completely. And then I also remembered that
level of difficulty
I have an insane amount of research and writing to do around here. And if I started playing Total War, I'd probably end up losing my job because that's all I want to do. And I've already been wasting enough of my time playing my new VR
because you got your
headset.
Got the fucking VR thing.
It's been so much fun. I
haven't gotten into it, but
I am.
Oh, I work for Darth Vader.
Yeah, well, I mean that's from the what is it, Vader the Immortal games that I've been playing. Those honestly, when I first, that was one of the first games that I got for it.
For people that don't play games, what is the VR rig like?
The VR. So I didn't even know this before I got what I bought was the Oculus Quest 2.
Okay.
And I thought that I am such a fucking nerd.
It's
Jesus
okay.
Christ, I'm a nerd.
We love you for that.
I hope so. So I picked up an Oculus Quest 2.
It's actually way more fun than if you're just playing video games at the house in your room, clicking a mouse or holding a controller. It's not exciting at all for me. Now, you're like, you hit the wall sometimes, you punch shit off the table, you fall over. It's way more exciting.
I had to clear out space in the dining room.
Yeah, because the whole fucking living room's rearranged, so you have a gaming room, and I like it.
While you were out of town, oh no, it was way worse while you were out of town. Because just so the people at home know, let me bang out the intro real quick. Get the intro in there, and we'll get back into this. Welcome to the Iconoblast podcast. This is the show that takes a look behind the public facades of famous icons to show you why you can never take anything at face value.
Yes, it is.
Anybody who's been watching the show already knows my name is Matt Cooper. Sitting across from me is Joel R. Benner. And we're talking about VR rigs right now because I'm really excited about mine.
Yeah.
So I picked up the Oculus Quest 2.
Oh, I have a VR rig. You're like in the future now.
You're just jealous. Dude, it is the future. It's the future of. It's not just the future of video games. It's the future of existence. Because as soon as they turn this into some sort of augmented reality, there's a certain theory about. I mean, there's tons of different theories about how human civilization is going to end.
Yeah.
And one of them is the creation of, something akin to the Matrix, where it's indistinguishable from reality and it's much more enjoyable than reality is.
Yeah.
Then everybody's just going to want to spend their time in there doing that shit because, I mean, look, the world fucking sucks. Look at anything going on in politics right now. Look at anything going on anywhere in the world right now.
Right. So if it's fun,
kind of shitty
inside a little place you can go to, why would you want to leave?
Why would you ever want to leave your happy place? Why would I want to be anywhere else if I could be a fucking bounty hunter in Star Wars, or if I could be a hero in The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, which is the one that I've been playing the most lately, which is fucking sweet.
I watched Coop. Maybe we should post that clip that I shot on the phone where he's actually pointing his gun and shooting it, kills a zombie. Like, pulls out, he can holster his gun and pull his gun out and shit, and he has to do it like
you actually
you're
have
actually
to
doing
go
it.
throh the motions. There's a
And
little
you could see his hands
triggers
and
on
shit.
the controller.
Anyway,
So if you squeeze your hands, it squeezes your hands in the game. So like that's how you
can grab stuff in the game. And I watched them stab a zombie in the head, and it looks gratifying.
It's so fucking gratifying. It is so gratifying because just to be safe, the way that they set it up is the speed that you do the motion doesn't matter. It's the range of motion that matters. And I didn't know that at first when I started playing. So I spent a lot of time punching walls. And, the reason I started playing out in the...
Well, I've seen lots of videos of people. We watched that video today. The old man just runs into the wall. Like, that obviously is fucking with your head. And like, so what's the long-term, like the long-term side effects of that, especially like kids... Like, they don't know anything else, and they get way into that. Because I remember the shitty games we played growing up, the graphics were shit. And you would still go outside and think you were fucking Mario.
Have you ever heard of, I think they call it's either the Tetris effect or Tetris syndrome or something. It's where if you spend, it first was sort of discovered or talked about when Tetris became really popular because people would spend hours and hours playing Tetris.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where they would start having dreams about it. So you play the game for hours on end, and then in your dreams, you're just playing the game more.
Yeah, I mean,
imagine how much worse that's going to be with Oh, yeah, you get that.
Well, when you work on a movie, you work for 16 hours a day, sleep for 4 hours.
Get up, work
after
for
like a
16
week
to 20 hours.
After a week of that, you literally go to sleep and you're back to work in your dreams. It's fucking awful.
It's stressful. It's so fucking stressful.
I hate waking up and be like, wait, I just worked a whole day, then I went to bed and worked another day, and now I'm working another day, and it's only been a day. You know, because you dream that you're at work, so it's like it feels like you don't rest at all. I hate those dreams.
So, yeah, I mean, imagine the Tetris effect with virtual reality, where this is even something that I've started to notice since I got the VR rig.
Yeah,
is if I spend a couple hours in the evening playing any of the games, there's certain motions that you go through on a regular basis where when you reach out to grab something, the people who develop the games understand that you're not always going to have this huge area to play in. So it's set up. They also want to make it accessible for everybody to play. Not everybody can.
You can sit while you play. You can stand when you play.
Yeah, exactly. And not everybody is going to have the range of motion to crouch down and pick something up off the ground. So they have it set up where you hold your hand out, it'll highlight an item, and then you press a button and it'll bring the item to your hand. After you spend a whole evening doing that, and then immediately after playing, you go to bed, you wake up the next morning, it's a little disorienting because in a certain part of your brain, you're thinking like, oh, I want that water bottle over there. Oh, wait, yeah, I actually have to get up and walk over there and pick it up. I'm not just going to hold my hand out, highlight it, and all of a sudden it's going to be in my hand.
Dude, that's intense. That's fucking with your whole brain state.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
I remember the games that did that to me the most. Well, it was Grand Theft Auto 3, the first one that was like open world 3D that came out on PS2 or 3. PS2. I would play that like for 6 hours with my friend in high school, and then Like literally, we'd go for a walk or go for a drive, and you would have these like, it's almost like a phantom twitch in your pocket. You think your phone vibrates? It's like that, but you're driving, and when you stop at a stop sign, you have a thought that actually processes. You're like, I should jump out and take that car because it's nicer than mine. Like, you know, like you have it's only for a split second, but you think it for a second.
Yeah.
So imagine if like a dumbass punk ass kid, or a kid with a really, really slow brain, spends too much time in one of these VR rigs.
Yeah, I mean, somebody's going to end up getting hurt from it.
But something fucked up.
What was
but that's like anything. That's like drugs or alcohol or anything.
There was some philosopher, I think it was like Kant or something like that said, I prefer freedom with danger than safety with slavery.
Yeah.
Fuck it. I'd much rather have the freedom to be able to do shit like that, and there's going to be a risk of stupid people doing stupid things, but really, no matter what you do,
yeah. I think
there's going to be the risk of stupid people doing stupid things.
Stupid people driving cars is more dangerous than stupid people in a VR rig.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, cars kill more people every year than like anything but heart disease or some shit like that. Yeah, they're dangerous.
There's dangers everywhere.
Yeah, but I would much rather have danger with freedom than slavery with safety.
So would you recommend it? Like, even considering the effects it has on kids and the world and the possible destruction of the universe, would you still recommend people to try it and you know, get their own rig? You think it's the next wave of video games and movies?
For sure. There's no doubt about it that in terms of entertainment, VR and AR, virtual reality and augmented reality, are going to be the next wave of entertainment. There's no doubt about that, because it's so much more,
or something that's
once they get it to the point where it's really small, and
so you're convinced on that.
Oh yeah, there's no question about it.
Okay, like it's people at home, instead of a giant flat screen, when you come over, there'll be like 10 like sunglasses on a table, and everyone puts them on.
Once they're the size of sunglasses,
and then everybody's like in the room, and you can still see each other, but then there's like, hey, let's go to the jungle while we eat dinner tonight, and everyone puts on their goggles. And
for augmented reality, if it was the same as, you know, you like grab a pair of glasses like this and you put them on, I don't see any reason that it wouldn't replace other forms of media. Bro. Oh yeah, it's going to take a while. We don't have that technology yet, but we really should get around to talking about Caesar, because I'm more excited about the topic today.
Are you more excited about the topic than your Oculus Quest 2?
Well, now that I'm thinking about it, I want to go home and I want to play some more Walking Dead. But
well, maybe they have a fucking Roman Empire battle game or something.
No, they don't. That's the other thing is the reason we even started talking about this. No, they don't have a game set in the Roman Empire. They do have a game called Gorn, which is a gladiator arena game, but it's real jokey. It's a lot of fun though. But the reason I got excited about Caesar in the first place is from playing the Total War Rome games.
That's why we went off on this tangent.
I liked playing the Caesar campaign where Caesar was.
It's like a Roman Empire simulator game.
Yeah, super in-depth strategy game. Well, no, it's a strategy game. You're like controlling armies and, you know, using tactics to try to take over an area.
Blah, blah.
But, blah, blah, nothing. You're just as much of a video game nerd as I am.
That's why I put on my jacket so they don't see my Nintendo sleeve.
I got excited about Caesar because of this game, and we're just now getting into the part of Caesar's life that I've always been so excited about, which is his conquest of Gaul. And
this is when he's put to the test as a battle.
Yeah,
battle man.
He got his feet
battle
wet.
Maniac.
Battle maniac. He got his feet wet in Hispania when he. Well, that's actually the beginning of this episode. So why don't I just go ahead and jump into this?
Yeah, just jump right in because we just started.
Yeah,
how long have we been talking for? 30 minutes. Shit.
Yeah, remember I said before we started this is probably going to be a pretty long episode, but I didn't expect to spend.
It's going to be a 2-hour episode.
Yeah, maybe.
It's okay.
But this is the good shit.
Okay, I'm excited. I've been waiting for this for 6 episodes.
In the last episode, we briefly went over Caesar's first term as consul. There are a few interesting things about his consulship I would like to include before we move on to his campaign in Gaul.
Okay.
In 62 BC, Caesar was appointed to govern Hispania Ulterior. His province stretched approximately from the border of modern-day Portugal to Cartagena, Spain. Before he could leave Rome, he had to pay off his considerable political debts. And this is where Marcus Crassus came in. We talked about Crassus in the last episode.
And consul's like, what is consul?
Consul's like the Roman co-president. There was 2 consuls elected every year.
That's right,
and they would trade.
They would trade feces.
Yeah, they would take turns holding feces. Which
What's it actually called?
Fasces. But I actually think that it's
Fasces.
Considering the letter that we got from a fan, I think it's Fasces.
And Caesar's name is Kaiser. Caesar.
And also,
I think it's Caesar.
I've been saying so when Caesar served his first term as consul, he served alongside a guy named Bibulus, and Bibulus was the nephew of a politician named Cicero. But we were just talking about it before this episode.
Cicero.
It's Cicero. And that just does not sound right.
Doesn't sound cool.
So I know that technically I should be saying Kaiser or Kaiser.
I think it's Kaiser, dude.
I think it's actually Kaiser. That's the way the Germans pronounced it, and the Germans did everything right, obviously. Maybe I shouldn't have said that.
You got a problem with Germans?
Circa between the 1930s and the mid 1940s. Yeah, I got a little bit of a problem with Germany. I think most people have a bit of a problem with Germany between the 30s and 40s. America sure as hell did, and the Jews.
We did. Aren't they forgiven? Yeah. Not everybody.
Are you going to forgive the Holocaust, Joel? Is that what you're trying to say? You're going to forgive the Holocaust?
That wasn't just it wasn't the German country specifically. They got tricked by a crazy guy.
Okay, yeah, that is something that we've talked about before. Is if you think that you're not going to get caught up in some nationwide insanity that turns into a slaughter, yeah, talk to the people in 1930s Germany.
Yeah.
And tell me that you would be one of the outliers, because you're not going to be.
I was scared. I went through Germany in a transit, and I was scared, just because thinking about everything that's happened there.
Yeah, you're not Jewish.
It doesn't matter. It's just Germany, so you're scared. And the airport. Okay, well, the airport was scary. It looked like all the scenes in Total Recall was like all concrete. Every fucking security guard had a machine gun. Every walkway and everything was like concrete walls or glass walls that are bulletproof thick, and there's nowhere to walk except for exactly where they tell you. I went through 4 different securities.
They didn't try to put you in a shower, did they?
No, well...
Because do not go into a German shower.
No. But they did even have security at the gate again, and they grabbed my nuts, patted me down right before getting on the plane, and searched my bag. Everybody, too.
Are you sure that was a German official? That wasn't just...
I mean, she was cute.
Well, I guess at least it was a she. Going back to Crassus. Crassus paid off Caesar's debts in return for political support and his opposition of Pompey's interests. So I think this is kind of interesting, as we talked about the first triumvirate in the last episode, which was an alliance between Caesar, Crassus, and Pompey. And Crassus and Pompey started off as political enemies. And once Caesar came into the mix, Crassus gave Caesar money to cover his political debts in return for Caesar supporting Crassus's opposition of Pompey's political ambitions. But then ultimately the 3 people, I mean, Crassus and Pompey...
Crassus is Harvey.
Yeah, Crassus is Harvey. Crassus is a former consul also. Crassus served at least 1 term as consul. Pompey served a term as consul. 2 very powerful men in the political arena of ancient Rome. This new Caesar guy comes into the mix, and he was a very progressive candidate. I've said before that Caesar would be considered like a liberal in modern day politics. And that put him at odds with the conservative side of Rome's politicians, but he was very charismatic. And that was something that Crassus really wanted, was somebody who wasn't an ugly, pockmarked asshole like he was. So, yeah, the 3 of them ultimately during Caesar's first term as consul, they formed the first triumvirate, and they just became a fucking powerhouse that could steamroll anything.
Right.
And I think that's so fucking weird that Crassus and Pompey spent all of this time at odds with each other, And finally they were like, all right, look, if we just put our differences aside,
we got something here.
Team up with this Caesar kid, we can just rule politics for as long as we want. I mean, that's really what they did. They could
crazy.
Get away with whatever the fuck they wanted. Although he had been appointed to govern Hispaniola Ulterior, Caesar still had a term as praetor to complete. Do you have something you want to say?
I just was wondering what Pompey looked like.
I don't know. He probably looked a lot like this, which is just a solid
Caesar.
white statue with with sharp features. And yeah, I mean, honestly, nobody really knows. We have old statues to go off of, but
yeah,
who knows
but we know
how
that,
accurate
we know
they
that
were.
fucking Harvey was fucking ugly.
Yeah, and we know that Sulla was ugly also. Sulla had a...
But Sulla's gone now.
Yeah, Sulla's dead at this point. He drank himself to death out in the countryside.
I remember that. I was just, in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, maybe Harvey fucked Caesar, maybe he fucked Pompey. I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, I doubt... I mean, maybe not literally fucked him, but figuratively, yeah, Pompey and Crassus both kind of fucked Caesar at later points in his life, but we'll get to that in later
They used
episodes.
the fuck out of him.
Yeah, and I mean,
but
Caesar,
they needed him too.
Yeah, Caesar kind of...
They all used each
Caesar
other.
Caesar used Crassus. Crassus used Caesar. Pompey used Caesar. Caesar used Pompey.
It was a gangbang, but everybody was fucking everybody.
Yeah, it was just a nice little threesome between the three of them, and they all came out on top somehow. It was a snuggle struggle.
Came on each other in the end.
So a praetor doesn't... It's actually praetor. The way that it's spelled is Praetor, but it's pronounced praetor instead of praetor. So I might pronounce it praetor, but fuck it, whatever. I'm mispronouncing Caesar and everything else anyway. Yeah, Kaiser. A praetor doesn't really have a modern day equivalent, but it can be thought of as a combination of a military officer and a presidential cabinet secretary. Rome didn't have a separation between its military and its politicians. A politician was a member of the military. A member of the military was a politician. In terms of officers, the regular soldiers, they were just cannon fodder.
Yeah.
Even after Crassus paid off the debts, Caesar was still worried he would be prosecuted once his term as praetor was over. The reason he couldn't be prosecuted while serving as praetor is because of something called imperium. Imperium is a command authority held by consuls, governors, generals, and high-ranking diplomats. I use the term governor a lot, and the Romans didn't have a word that meant governor. They would have pro-praetor, pro-consul, consul, things like that. But for the sake of the story, just governor. Yeah, we'll go with governor. It's not exactly the same thing, but it's fucking close enough. It essentially meant that they were the physical embodiment of the Roman state, and as such, their will was the will of the state itself. This is imperium that we're talking about right now. A person with imperium was pretty much immune to legal prosecution, meaning they could break any laws they deemed necessary to do their job. Instead of sticking around to finish his term as praetor and possibly face legal repercussions, Caesar split from Rome and headed to Hispania. So he didn't finish his term as praetor. He was just like, okay, they've already given me Hispaniola Ulterior to rule,
so do some other shit.
I'm just going to dip out of here and I'm going to go run Spain.
Did he leave like a note?
Yeah, he probably left a little note like sorry,
Mom, Dad, I hate you. I'm running away from home.
I'm not sticking around for you assholes to try and get this money from me that you owe me.
Oh, did he split and he owed money?
Well, Crassus had paid off his debts, but
so he still owed Crassus, but he still split.
Crassus wasn't going to prosecute him for the debts that he owed because they had a deal going, but he could still be prosecuted for owing the people money, for borrowing all this money and then not paying it back. So he was just figured better safe than sorry. It's all paid off right now, but I'm not going to wait until my imperium goes away. I'm just going to go to this other fucking country. And then what? Nobody's going to follow me over there and give me shit for it. So he just split, went to Hispania and started working as a governor. While governing Hispaniola Ulterior, Caesar conquered 2 local tribes, leading his troops to hail him as imperator. During the later stages of the Roman Republic, imperator was an honorific title bestowed upon a general by their soldiers.
Sweet.
It was at the discretion of the troops whether or not the general received the title. So a general that earns the respect of his troops and has some victories under his belt can be hailed as imperator, but it's up to the troops to say like, hey, you know what? You're a good fucking guy. You're my imperator. And imperator pretty much just means like, hey, you're a victorious, respectable general. Like we have your back.
That's cool. So they respected him.
Yeah, that's something that is consistent throughout Caesar's entire life, is the troops under his command respected him and loved him. And there's a reason for that. We're not going to get into the specifics of it in this episode, but in the next episode, there's one specific story that really highlights why Caesar's troops loved him so much. Because Caesar's troops, they fucking loved him.
He must have been doing something right, because he conquers the whole fucking world.
Yeah, he for sure had the loyalty of his men. Having been hailed as imperator, Caesar was eligible to apply for a triumph. A triumph was an extravagant celebration of a victorious general, which we will go over in detail in a future episode. I have an entire episode just dedicated to triumphs because it is fucking insane. These are
a triumph is like a super party?
It's the Macy's Thanksgiving parade if we ritualistically strangled people to death at the end of it.
What?
For now, let's just say it was a really fancy parade in honor of an exceptionally successful military campaign, which is very simplifying it. Oh no,
in sixth grade history book.
Yeah,
they would celebrate Caesar.
Yeah, in a sixth grade history book, they would, it's just a big parade for a successful general. They would leave out the part where people are ritualistically strangled to death.
Strangled? Oh, we'll get into that later.
Yeah, okay. I have a whole episode.
Just strangled?
Yeah.
Bunch of shit.
Yeah, but I don't want to give it away because we're going to get into that in a later. There's an entire episode dedicated just to the triumphs of Caesar, and they are fucking awesome. That's one of the episodes that I'm really, really excited about.
Fuck.
Caesar requested a triumph and was granted one by the Roman Senate.
He asked for one?
You have to. So once you're hailed as imperator, that's one of the steps of getting a triumph, is you have to be hailed as imperator by your troops.
My troops love me, now throw me a party.
And you have to have an exceptional victory under your belt. Okay. You have to have technically.
My troops love me. I slaughtered this person. These people. I won this battle.
Yeah, it's like technically you're supposed to have either conquered new territory for Rome, or you either conquer new territory for Rome, or you've defeated one of Rome's mortal enemies, technically.
Or something close to that.
Something close to that.
And then you're a smooth talker.
Being the smooth talker is probably the biggest part of it. Being hailed imperator is important. That's one step that you can't.
That's the paperwork.
Yeah, that's one step that you can't skip over. But in terms of what you did to be hailed as imperator, or what you did afterwards that puts you in a position where you can request a triumph, you can kind of fudge that a little bit.
All right.
Caesar requested a triumph and was granted one by the Roman Senate. Then things got really complicated because of something called the pomerium. Because I'm a huge fucking nerd, I love this shit. The pomerium is another one of the parts of Roman culture that just absolutely fucking fascinates me. The pomerium is a border that surrounded Rome, signifying...
Oh, we talked about this a little bit. It's like a stretch of desert or something?
No, I mean, it's an imaginary line, really. I don't know if we talked about it on...
It was briefly.
Might have talked about it on the show a little bit. I know that I've talked to you about it a decent amount outside of the show, because I got really fucking excited about this stupid imaginary line. I know that there was something
about we talked about it on the show. Somebody was crossing something when they shouldn't have, or something.
Yeah.
That's this thing.
Yeah, that's the imaginary border around it. It signified the original city limits of Rome.
Yeah.
And this goes back to the founding of Rome, which, according to legend, Rome was founded by Romulus and Remus, which were two brothers, Romulus and Remus. It was two brothers who brought a group of people over to the Italian peninsula, and they wanted to set up a city, but they couldn't agree. So there's a few hilltops around there that they wanted to set the city up on, but they couldn't agree on which hilltop to choose.
It's like Bert and Ernie.
So, dude, it's honestly a little well, if one of them ended up murdering the other, then yeah, it's a little bit like Bert and Ernie.
Yeah. In my mind, I picture Bert and Ernie on horses.
To me, when I hear Romulus and Remus, I think about Goofus and Gallant, or something.
What?
Goofus and Gallant. Well, you're uncultured and you don't pay attention to history. Well, I mean, it's not even really
Goofus
history.
And Gallant?
It's back in the 40s. Okay, so we'll go back to Bert and Ernie, because that's something that you can relate to. When I picture Romulus,
Bill and Ted,
Wayne and Garth. No, Bill and Ted were friends. Wayne and Garth were friends. They don't.
They're
try,
brothers.
They
that
don't
hate
try
each
to
other?
murder each other though. They were very much at odds. So they had one brother. So Romulus chose one hilltop. Remus chose another hilltop, and their group split in half, where half the people were supporting one brother, half were supporting the other, and they started arguing over which hilltop was going to be the foundation of their new city.
Whoa.
And then at one point, one of the brothers is like, "Oh, hey, these birds landed on my hill. I had these 2 birds land on my hill, so obviously my hill is the one we're supposed to choose." Like, "Oh, well, I had 3 birds land on my hill, so fuck you. We're gonna build the city on this hilltop." Then it just kept escalating to the point where Romulus murdered Remus, and it's like, "Oh, well, fuck, he's dead. I guess we're choosing my hilltop."
Whoa.
So that is exactly how Rome was founded. Just exactly. I didn't leave anything out. It's no more complicated than that.
2 brothers jerking each other off until they killed each other. Well, I guess they were jerking themselves off.
If they were being real aggressive about jerking each other off and then accidentally... Well, it wasn't even an accident that Romulus killed Remus, but...
How old were they?
Nobody knows.
Around the same age?
Well, they were twins, yeah. So, I mean, it's... They could have been anywhere between the ages of 14 and 9.
Well, I just meant how...
Yeah, they were twins.
So they were twins. That makes sense. They both thought they should be in charge.
Yeah, it was... well, it's also a myth. Like, there's no evidence that either one of them even existed. So,
Right.
Who knows what actually happened.
I like this story. It's a cool story. Like, I think they're cute. I think they look like Bert and Ernie. Because Bert and Ernie look fucking same, except one's like a little rounder and one's a little taller.
Bert
but
and Ernie
the exact
look
same
nothing
eyes
alike.
and face.
They're not even the same. Well, I mean, they don't...
Same exact
They're not even the
mouths.
same shape. Well, the same... Every Muppet has the same mouth.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Twins.
Elmo is related to Bert and Ernie
No,
also?
but Elmo looks nothing like Bert and Ernie. They're brothers.
I don't think they're brothers. I think they're
They're not?
roommates. Yeah, I don't think they're brothers.
They're brothers.
If you know whether or not Bert and Ernie are brothers, email us at iconoblastpodcast@gmail.com.
You want to put money on it? $20. They're brothers.
Okay, $20 says...
But we can't look it up. A fan has to tell us.
Okay,
or
a
viewer.
Joel and I just shook on a $20 bet. I say that Bert and Ernie are not brothers. Joel says that Bert and Ernie are brothers. We need a fan to settle this for us, and we're going to need proof. Email us.
And if they're not either one, then we just trade a $20 bill if we're both wrong, because they could be lovers.
But no, that would support my theory that they're not
No,
brothers.
But they're not roommates either.
I said they were friends.
You said they were roommates.
I mean, same fucking thing.
No, it's not.
They're not. Okay, so we'll simplify this.
We already shook hands. They're either roommates or brothers, and if they're not either one, we both lose.
But if they're friends and they live together, they're also
They're
roommates.
Yeah.
So your argument is...
If they're lovers, then they're not roommates. That's just 2 people living together in a house. You don't call you and your lover a roommate.
Technically, 2 people living together in a house would be roommates also.
Not when they're lovers. You never say that. Like a couple, you never call them roommates. Friends, you call roommates. Brothers, you call roommates too.
I have lived with somebody that I was having sex with, and we were not lovers. We were roommates.
Well, fucking roommate's different than being lovers. Wait, you had a roommate and you were fucking him?
Not him, her.
Was it?
Oh, I don't want to name any names. I actually don't even want to get into it. I probably shouldn't have even
What did he
brought it
look
up.
like?
It wasn't a he, it was a her.
You sure? It wasn't Bateman? He's cute. And he grew his hair out.
Oh no, I mean, if I had a gun to my head and I had to fuck somebody, then yeah, Nick Bateman. He's a charming guy.
Yeah, he's cute. Yeah,
But nobody
If I
ever-
was gay, I would want to sleep with them.
Nobody ever put a gun to my head about that.
True. Oh, speaking of Nicholas Bateman, real quick, you should watch his movie. What's it called? The Wanting Mayor.
The
Just
Wanting
came
Mayor.
out. He's a young boy. He made his first film, and it's awesome. So you can watch it on iTunes and
He's a
anywhere you can get movies.
really fucking talented guy.
Yeah, and as far as I know, I don't know
And
if
he's
this is
charming
true,
as
but he's
shit.
already working on the next one.
Is he?
Yeah.
Is it going to be a sequel to The
I don't-
Wanting
I-
Mayor,
I
or is
don't
it
know.
just something completely different?
I don't think I can say anything about it, but I know that he's working on something else already. So I'm proud.
Hell yeah.
Proud of you, Bateman. Love you.
Nicholas Bateman, you are a charming son of a bitch.
God, he looks good.
We never had sex, though. The pomerium is a border that surrounded Rome, signifying the original boundaries of the city. And it was extremely significant to Roman culture and politics. So you remember the part of the story that we're at right now. We're talking about the pomerium.
Yes.
Caesar Caesar requested a triumph.
Caesar got fucking Harvey Weinstein to pay all his bills, and then he split.
Went
when
to
he got to his new
Ulterior.
place, he killed a couple fucking tribal leaders and their tribes. His bros fucking loved him.
Hailed him as
an imperator. And then he was like, give me a triumph.
Then he went back to Rome and he requested triumph from the Roman Senate, and he was granted a triumph.
And he got it.
Complicated. He did get the triumph, but there are some issues with that. One of the many rules regarding the pomerium is that no soldier can cross it. If any soldier crosses the pomerium as a soldier, it's considered invading the city of Rome.
Oh.
If you cross the pomerium as a Roman soldier or Roman general, you are giving up your status as a member of the military. If a member of the Roman military crossed the pomerium, they automatically lost their status as a soldier or a general.
Or they're invading.
If you cross it without giving up your status.
Why the fuck would they have that rule? Just the way it was.
It's just
we have a lot of rules nowadays.
Yeah, it's a cultural thing where that was, and honestly, it was more.
I like it though. I like crazy rules.
One of my dreams is I want to go to Rome and I want to see at least a portion of the pomerium, because even during Caesar's time, the pomerium wasn't like a wall or anything. The Romans really took the pomerium seriously, because even
like
during Caesar's time, it was
you gotta believe in this like God.
Like sometimes it was marked by little standing stones, not a wall. It wasn't a wall during Caesar's lifetime. It wasn't a wall for like hundreds of years before Caesar. Yeah. They had an area marked out. For the most part, it was just a ditch, and the roads coming out of the central city of Rome, where they had all of their like political buildings and all their main temples. Mm-hmm. In and out of those areas, they had very specific gates, which had no walls on either side of them. There's no wall running along the pomerium. They had roads and gates going across the pomerium, and those were the only places that anybody was allowed to cross. Like you couldn't even step off the road.
It's like holy ground or something.
Yeah, very, very culturally significant, to the point where there would be traffic jams at these gates because
with plenty of room to go around each other, but they're not going to do it.
All the room in the world to go around either side.
Not going to happen.
But they took it so seriously, because if you cross the pomerium, you could be put to death.
That's so crazy.
And it wasn't just legally enforced, it was also it was culturally enforced. Like people just believed in the pomerium. It's like, oh, you don't cross the pomerium.
Right. It's like you don't jerk off in public. You do that at home.
Yeah. I mean, unless you're that guy that made that Coney 2012 video, he jerked off in public in San Diego, and that's why Coney is still on the run. Caesar planned on running for consul upon his return to Rome, but only after he received his triumph. And like I said, a triumph can only be given to a general. To declare his candidacy, he would have to enter the city, which meant crossing the pomerium. This normally wouldn't have been a problem, but Caesar had made some enemies in the Senate. A group of senators didn't want Caesar to run for consul, so they decided to reschedule his triumph to take place after the consul elections. A triumph can only be given to an active general, so if Caesar were to cross the pomerium to declare his candidacy, he would lose his status as a general, and thus he would lose his triumph.
He wouldn't get his triumph.
Caesar had a tough decision to make: campaign for a term as consul or receive the triumph. This was an exceptionally hard decision for him, as he had already lobbied the Senate to grant him permission to run for consul 2 years earlier than he was legally allowed to. So at this point, Caesar's 2 years too young to become consul. He actually lobbied the Senate to say, "Hey, give me this permission to run for consul 2 years early." And they're like, "Okay, you got it. You can run for consul 2 years early." It's like, "Okay, I want a triumph also." Like, "You got it. You can have a triumph also." But his enemies in the Senate were like, "Well,
how's he going to cross the?
Let's just go ahead. We need to schedule when this triumph's going to happen. There's so much shit going on. Let's just do it after the elections are over, so we don't have all this stuff to deal with all at once." That obviously it forced him to choose between having a triumph or running for consul.
Well, where the hell's fucking Harvey?
Well, I mean, there's not much that he's going to do because everybody's voting. So he can cast a vote. He can do what he can, but there was only so much that he could do. And also, a lot of people in the Senate,
they don't have as much power as they have. later as they do currently.
Once Caesar becomes consul, that's when they really get some power. They form the first triumvirate, and then it's like whatever the fuck they want to do. Because the order in which people were allowed to like vote and speak in the Senate was based on authority. So you would have the consuls that would get to speak first, and then you would have the proconsuls, which are former consuls. They would get to speak second. Just so happens that Crassus and Pompey were two of the most senior proconsuls.
So they always talked.
So it would be Caesar, Crassus, Pompey.
That's fucking.
And the first triumvirate. Yeah, they were assholes, but they were brilliant. I mean, these guys were shady as fuck. To everyone,
all the while he had his fire department still just
and this whole time, Crassus is fucking cruising around, burning down buildings, going like, "Hey, dude, you give me this money, I'll put this fire out for you."
Fuck.
Yeah, Crassus was a piece of shit, but like I said, he met a very poetic death. He had he had to endure the death of his son during a battle, and then after his son was dead, he got put on the back of a horse, dressed up in all this really, really fancy clothing by an enemy army. And they paraded him around like he was a fucking asshole. And then they poured molten gold down his throat and chopped his head off. Fuck. So he got what was coming to him. And I mean, Crassus really fucking deserved it.
You think he did? Yeah.
Oh, dude, Crassus was such a piece of shit. He was powerful and he was smart, but fuck, he was a piece of shit.
Maybe that's what we should do to Harvey Weinstein. Is he dead now? No, he's in jail.
No, he actually just recently contested the sexual assault charges. Like, that's gonna fucking work. He's dying in prison for sure. Yeah, I mean, he's still alive. He's never getting out.
We should cover him in gold. We should do the same thing. Dress him up like an asshole.
We should dress him up in a bunch of fancy clothes, put him on the back of the horse, parade him around.
Dress him up in all the clothes of all the ladies that he fucked around with.
Oh, yeah.
Make him wear all that shit.
Yeah, I'm sure that somebody's
gonna get off on that.
Oh, yeah, fuck. He probably would.
Fuck. We don't want him getting off at one last time.
No.
Let's just cover him in molten gold of his own money.
Pour molten gold down his throat. That's what they did to Crassus. And okay, so to be perfectly honest, that might be an apocryphal story, just for later historians to say like, oh, look at this poetic and fitting death that Crassus met.
Yeah,
it might not have actually happened. He for sure got killed, but it might have been just an extra little flourish that some later historian added, that he got molten gold poured down his throat, because that is pretty poetic, but fuck, I hope it happened.
If you got molten gold poured down your throat and they filled you up and then it hardened and then they like cut your body off of it, what would the shape be?
Oh, you would have a cast of like
your guts,
your stomach.
But it'd probably
well, actually, no. Yeah, it would burn through. It wouldn't be like pouring a bunch of lead down into an anthill.
It would be like it'd be like a hammer, or it'd be like a bar and then like a big ball, right?
Well, but then the hot metal is going to be like vaporizing all the liquid, so that's going to create bubbles. It wouldn't be like a smooth stomach shaped.
No, it'd be like a weird fucked up blob at the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, overall, it would probably all just be a mess.
Do you think if that was true, they were carrying that body around because it was full of gold? And did some come out of its, like, did it get all the way out of his butt?
I don't think it would.
Or did it just, like, ruin all of his organs and intestines and just melt through his skin and, like, fill his body up?
You know, honestly, that's a really good question. I'm not sure what would happen if...
I mean, they do that in Game of Thrones, but they kind of pour it over his head.
They just pour it over the top of his head. Yeah. If they actually poured it down his throat, really, like with the muscles in your throat constricting, because I mean, you'd try to pour...
Cough a little, but it would burn through it eventually, right? If they were persistent.
I mean, if they were really persistent, then yeah, it would go all the way down into the stomach, but...
And then they chopped his head off?
Yeah, then they chopped his head off.
So
there's also,
if you looked at his neck, it would be like the severed neck, and then where the hole was, there'd just be a gold,
a little ring of gold.
Ring of gold, yeah.
Yeah, it actually sounds like it would be kind of pretty. I'm sure that somebody used it as a decoration. Yeah, it's beautiful.
But yeah, I wonder, whoever had the gold did that. They're like, "Fuck you, we're gonna get him good. He thought he was rich, thought it was hot shit. We're gonna pour gold down his throat, filled him up with gold, and then we're like, ah, shit, that's my gold."
Yeah, actually, now that you mention it,
gold.
Even if they just poured like a little cup full of molten gold down his throat, I mean that shit's valuable. How are you gonna get that back out of there?
That's what I'm thinking. They kept his body and fucking chipped away at it, or maybe they just kind of threw it in the back and were like, all right, it's like kind of like a bank. No one's gonna steal a dead body.
Oh wait, you know what?
Got a little piece of gold.
I know what they did. Is they're like, oh shit, this is gonna be fun. Let's pour this molten gold down this guy's throat. Then once they were down there, like, well, wait, fuck. Now he's got this gold in his body. Oh wait, we have slaves that'll do whatever the fuck they.
Oh yeah, you guys
tell them to do.
Figure out how to get the gold out.
Figure out how to get this gold out of here, and if you don't, I'm gonna murder you. So for sure, they figured out how to get that gold out of here. Yeah,
that's not as fun.
There's not a whole lot of fun stuff about the ancient world. Really,
tie a rope to his body, throw him in the river, let the river decay his body, and then pull the rope out, and it'll just be the gold left.
Wait, that's actually a good idea. Well, maybe not. Okay, so if
or soak it up so it's easily pulled apart.
Don't ask me how I know this, but if you want to get just the bones out of a body, like let's say for some reason you want a skull that is in somebody's body, what you can do.
Wait, a skull that's in someone's body?
That's where skulls are. Where else are you going to get a skull?
Oh, I thought you the body is the neck down.
I mean, the body's everything.
I guess so, yeah. In my mind, when you said that, I'm like, did somebody swallow a head? You trying to get a fucking skull out of a stomach?
Okay, so let's say you're trying to get a skull out of a person. The easiest way to do that is you just bury it for a couple weeks and you let the worms and other animals
do their job,
chew through it, and I mean also the bacteria in the body and maggots and things like that. Then eventually you get a skull that you can bleach. So they could have just buried them.
Bleach.
Well, yeah, because when a skull first comes out of a body, it's messy. Like if a skull's just been laying around rotting
for a couple weeks,
yeah, there's still going to be like tiny little chunks of meat. And there's going to be discoloration and things like that. So yeah,
like when the predator rips the skull out.
In Predator, it comes out way too clean.
Well, I think he did some pre-cutting that they didn't show.
And I mean, the Predator also is an expert, so yeah, he probably knows some some techniques
when you peel the rabbit skin off.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
he had a technique where it's like a one-hit cut and slit, and then
he knows the exact right spot to just grab it, pull the skull and the spine out of there.
You hold Billy's hair down a little, and then just whoosh, rip that skull out of there.
Did Billy get his skull and spine ripped out? Oh, that's why he screamed so much. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that
Billy.
Okay, to be honest, that's kind of a disappointing ending for Billy. Like he's built up to be this major bad.
He's the only one that
we have no idea.
He was
We have no idea how well he did because all it is he stands out on that, what is it, a log laying across a ravine.
Yeah, it's like a giant tree.
Takes his shirt off.
Cuts his chest
open. He's carrying this big ass fucking knife.
And you hear him scream.
And then you just hear him scream.
He got some.
Personally, I didn't see the Predator.
It depends.
So in Predator 2,
it depends.
We see when the Predator gets fucked up, he has to go through this whole process of like fucking crushing up all this medicine. He does that in the first one also?
Yeah.
He does?
Yeah.
Is that after everybody's unloading into the forest?
Yeah, he bleeds a little.
That's one of the greatest scenes in cinema history is just all of those big burly men unloading their guns into the forest. It's amazing.
I watched that.
I can't believe there's 2 governors in that movie. 2 future governors in that movie. Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jesse the Body Ventura.
Fighting aliens.
If you had to choose any movie that 2 future governors were going to come out of, would it be Predator?
Is there any other movie that's happened? Probably not.
Fuck no. I mean, I can't think of. Well, no,
not that it's not that public
2,
knowledge.
Not that 2 governors have come out of, because Ronald Reagan was an actor also, and he went on to be governor of California.
Yeah, who cares?
So I can't think of any other actor besides him. Jesus Christ, think about that. So in terms of actors going on to be governors, there's Ronald Reagan, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and a former fucking wrestler, Jesse the Body Ventura. And out of the 3 of them, Jesse the Body Ventura is the one that was actually the most successful and liked by his constituents. No disrespect to Arnold. I don't mean any disrespect to Arnold, but as a governor.
Yeah.
Like the people of Minnesota.
The body, but he didn't have the same biceps. They were a little bit smaller.
Dude, okay, was it you that was telling me the story that wasn't there some game that Schwarzenegger and Ventura were?
Arnold lied about his bicep size to make Jesse the Body walk around saying that he had bigger arms, and then was like, "No, you don't," and he was like, "Yeah, I do." And then Arnold was like, "Measure them," and then they were bigger.
I thought there was something that they did where something with them working out in the mornings before they started filming. Like, didn't Arnold? Fuck, what was it? Wasn't Arnold like saying that he was working out for longer before Jesse showed up, and then he would?
So, yeah, there's more. There's there. He lied about his bicep size, and used that against him in some way. I don't remember. And then there was something about that too, where he would like. I think it was something where Arnold would say like, "No, I don't work out."
Or they were using,
but he would go.
He was like lying about the amount of weight that he was using or something like that. I don't know.
I can't remember, but it's definitely it's on YouTube. You can watch the Predator documentary for free. You just watch it. It's
Arnold
great.
Schwarzenegger was really good at fucking with manipulating the people that he was competing against. I mean, that's one of the ways that he won Mr. Olympia. Well, I mean, yeah, pretty much everything. Is he not only had the physical skill to back it up, but he played the mind games also. I mean, anybody who hasn't seen Pumping Iron yet, if you think that it's just a documentary about bodybuilders, no, it's not. It's a fucking
you see why
great
he became
movie.
famous and why he became a governor and why he made it to everywhere he is, because he's smart.
Dude, I love the scene where before they're going out on stage, Lou Ferrigno's in there working out. And he's like making all this noise. He's
You
like,
have to be quiet. It's a church in here.
it's like a church in here. It's so good.
And he tells that story about there was this guy that was training to become a bodybuilder, and Arnold sized him up and was like, "Oh shit, you might actually have a chance." And the guy was asking him for advice, and fucking just straight up lied to him and was like, "Look, this is a new thing. When you're posing, when you go out there and you pose, each pose fucking yell."
That's right.
Pose and fucking do your poses. And he went and did it, and everyone freaked out, and he got disqualified. And then Arnold won.
God damn, that's competing on another level. I mean, that's how Arnold got to be where he is. He's not only strong, he was honestly really fucking smart.
Yeah, surprisingly. Even if you sound like this, you can kind of be smart.
All right, so going back to somebody else that was maybe not physically strong, but definitely very fucking smart. We were talking about Caesar having to make the choice between receiving his triumph,
oh, that's right,
or becoming consul.
Yeah. Let's do it.
To everyone's surprise, Caesar did the unthinkable and crossed the pomerium, giving up his position as general and therefore losing his triumph.
Fuck.
He made up for losing his triumph by winning the election and becoming consul. So
smart move.
But it really was like almost unthinkable at that point in history, because a triumph was one of the greatest honors that any person could ever get.
Oh, like a military honor type thing?
Yeah, well, I mean, since the military and the government was essentially the same thing.
Was the triumph worth more than becoming consul?
For Caesar at the time, he really made the right choice. He could have gotten a triumph really early on in his career, but yeah, he was thinking further ahead. Most people wouldn't have given up the triumph. They would have been like, okay, I'm going to get the triumph,
and then
I'll go ahead and wait another year and become consul. But Caesar couldn't wait another year to become consul because his term as governor was already going to be up. If he lost his imperium, then he was going to be open to prosecution for all the shit that he was pulling. So
it's like the lottery. If you win the lottery, you choose either to take it all at once and they take a big cut, and that's like taking the triumph.
Actually,
or you get only a little bit per month, but it's going to.
But in the long run, you're going to be getting more. That's actually a really good comparison between the two. He chose the long game, and that's something that Caesar was always really good at. Is he was playing the long game all the time. He was always thinking very far ahead.
I would not. If it was me and I won the lottery, I'd take all the money up at once because I don't trust getting that paycheck every month.
Yeah, me too. I mean, for me, I'm just fucking impatient. I just like instant gratification.
Give me all that money now, and I'll save it how I want.
I'm gonna blow it all on strippers and
Get a couple VR rigs.
Oh yeah, lots of VR rigs. I'm gonna travel all over the world. I'm gonna do all this fun shit.
Go back to Macedonia
all
again.
Of a sudden, I'd go from being a millionaire to being dirt fucking poor and like hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt.
You think that would happen?
That's what happens to most lottery winners is they end up in debt.
I don't think I would do that.
I mean, this is kind of a weird comparison to make, but when I think about situations like that where I look at so if I'm picturing myself winning the lottery and I look at other people that have won the lottery and I see that the majority of them actually end up in debt after winning the lottery because they've got all this fucking money. It's like, oh, I'm never going to run out of money. And they just blow it on all this stupid shit.
Or they buy a bunch of shit and owe a bunch of shit.
Yeah, that's what ends up happening. I like to think that, oh, I'm not that fucking stupid. I'm not going to end up blowing all my money and ending up in debt like all these other idiots did. And then really, I think about 1930s Germany. Most people would think that they wouldn't end up a Nazi if they were in Germany during the 1930s.
But they did.
But they did because it's a situation that you don't know how to deal with until you're in it. I like to think that I wouldn't end up in the same situation. If this is going to sound really fucking bad, but I'm just gonna outright say it. I like to think that I wouldn't have ended up as part of the Nazi Party if I were around in 1930s Germany.
Yeah.
Chances are I probably would have because most of Germany ended up becoming part of the Nazi Party. And at the very least, even if you weren't part of it from the beginning.
Compared to spending money, like whenever you get a chunk of cash, you just blow it right away?
I'm horrible with money.
Yeah, so
I just bought a fucking VR rig the other day. I didn't need to buy that shit, but I was like, I got some money laying around. I'm good with money. I want to spend it.
I don't spend anything.
I
spend a little bit here and there.
A little bit here and there for
like
for
my
good
trip
reasons.
I just went on to Macedonia that I'm back from, which was an awesome trip, by the way.
Wait, so yeah, speaking of Macedonia, that's where Alexander the Great originally came from. And Alexander the Great is one of the. Well, you were in North Macedonia instead of.
But there was giant statues of him there.
Yeah, I mean that's where his whole kingdom. Well, he didn't start the kingdom.
Is there two countries still? Is it North Macedonia and South Macedonia?
Well, it's well, it wouldn't be South Macedonia. It'd be Greece. Greece is just south of North Macedonia. I honestly, okay, so
it's North Macedonia and then just Greece,
and then Greece, yeah.
So why is it called North still? Just
because it used to all just be Macedonia, and that's where Alexander the Great come from.
Greece
which Alexander the Great was a big influence on Caesar. Well,
he had a big statue.
He should. He
had multiple ones.
He's probably actually no. I think he ended up having like the largest empire out of anybody except maybe Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan, which shout out to Dan Carlin.
Genghis. People know him as Genghis. But the proper term is Genghis.
If Dan Carlin said, so we actually had this discussion before we started recording this episode.
True. He calls him Genghis.
If Dan Carlin says it that way, Dan Carlin from Hardcore History, if Dan Carlin says it that way, then
we decide that's the right way?
Yeah.
Or maybe it's the way you're going to say it.
It's the way I'm going to say it because I am very heavily influenced by my peers.
Okay, so Genghis Khan and Caesar.
Genghis Khan and Julius Caesar because he says Caesar instead of Kaiser.
Caesar.
So anyway, yeah. How was the trip? We're going to close out this episode right now anyway. So how was the trip to Macedonia?
It was sweet, dude. It was good. We talked about how I was leaving on the last one.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, it was a good time. I went out there to see my Czech spice. And
is there another word that you would use for her now?
I'm not going to talk about that.
There's not.
It's too private. A lot of private things happened on the trip, but
well, I'm not asking you to talk about all the fucking. That's private.
You're just as bad as Ross. Just trying to pull out all the private details.
Well, at least we're not doing this show live because then you'd be in a really fucking uncomfortable spot right now trying to back your way out of this.
But no, it's my third time meeting this girl, and I met her in Macedonia this time. Because of COVID, it's hard to meet her. So we have to find a place to meet, and we met in Macedonia. I got to see a bunch of cool statues. It was cool. I went to a castle, and you've never been to a castle.
I've never been to a real castle. I've been to Hearst Castle before, but that was just built by some fucking asshole media magnate. By the way, fuck William Randolph Hearst. That guy was a piece of shit.
Yeah, no, dude. It was an awesome fucking trip. I recommend travel anytime you can. I mean, it's even better if you're going there for love. Or whatever you want.
Quote unquote love.
Make fun of me all you want, Coop. You're going to be doing the same thing soon.
I can and I will.
Yeah. It's cool, dude. You just got to go to some other countries, dude. I went to Turkey, Istanbul twice, and now Macedonia. I've been to Peru. The more you travel, the more you just realize how fucking everyone's the same.
I've been to the only country that matters, the
America.
U.S. of fucking A.
Okay.
So you want to close this out now?
Yeah, let's call it and just.
Yeah, we'll call it right there with Caesar becoming consul.
Yeah.
After turning down his first triumph.
Okay.
So everybody remember that we're on YouTube now. So if you're listening to the show and you want to actually see the weird gesticulations that we're making while we're recording the show.
Yeah, if you want to see how retarded I am,
go to
how retarded Coop
go to
is.
the Drinkin' Bros History channel. We're not on the Drinkin' Bros main channel. They've started a new channel, Drinkin' Bros History. It's us and Softcore History.
Yes.
Softcore History is stars Dan Regester, Rob Fox,
Hot Bob.
yeah, also known as Hot Bob. God damn it! I told myself that I wasn't going to forget his last fucking name.
Jake Paul.
It's not Jake Paul. It's Jake Goldman.
Jake Goldman, okay.
Dan Regester, Rob Fox, also known as Hot
Hot
Bob,
Bob.
and Jake Goldman. They do softcore history. Hardcore history is done by Dan Carlin.
I think that's the idea.
Yeah,
right?
that's a general idea. The last episode that they did was about the East India Trading Company, which was a solid episode. It's cool because they trade off hosts on each episode. Each person comes up with their own story that they're going to tell for the week. It's a cool way of doing it. I'm also a producer on the show, so every now and then they talk to me off camera, and I'm
Yeah, do you have a mic now?
sometimes I have a mic,
I
sometimes
think
I
you
don't.
need to start requesting a mic.
A lot of the times it's like
Just say you're not going to produce, you're not going to switch unless you get
well,
a mic.
it's
you
late
want
in
to
the
chime
day,
in.
and it's like I chime in every now and then. I was chiming in on their college hoop show, and I don't know anything about fucking sport, like any
That's
fucking
good, though.
sport.
That's a good perspective.
I don't know anything about it. On the History channel, that's all there is for now is Softcore History and then Iconoblast podcast. But you can check out the other shows. There's American Party podcast, Drinkin' Bros, obviously.
Yep. Drinking
There's
Bros.
the new show,
Fake news,
Icebreakers.
Icebreakers about to come out.
Icebreakers with Chuck Liddell and Adam Ray. Joel and I have both been doing work on that. We haven't been doing anything on the show itself. We've been doing producing.
Oh, well, I mean, I went to LA and helped shoot their first couple episodes, and then they shot another few episodes here.
True, and
Right?
you
You
cut
did
together
the audio trailer, and I spent the last 2 days cutting the trailer for the show that'll
cut
be
together
out.
the video trailer.
By
I
the
did
time
the
this
audio
comes out,
trailer.
the trailer will already be out. The audio trailer's out now.
I picked up Chuck and his wife from the airport, which is a really fucking awkward situation. It's not a story that I'm going to tell on air, but just let it be known that it was really fucking awkward.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. You can donate to the Drinkin' Bros Patreon.
Chuck is awesome, by the way.
Chuck's awesome.
Yeah,
Dude, him
I
and
think
Adam Ray.
when you guys watch the show, it's very surprising because Chuck has this reputation. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of his UFC career, and I always thought of him as a cold-blooded killer, and that's what most people think. And the dude is joking around about loving snow cones. He loves his family.
Romantic
he
comedies.
loves rom-coms. You'll see it in the trailer and the show. He's a sweetheart.
I've listened
But he'll
to,
kill you. It's like God. His mentality about how he handles drunk people at bars because people get shit-faced and try to fight him all the time, and he'll give them every opportunity not to.
like,
But then if you
look,
he's even dodged a punch and then been like, "Hey,
are you sure you want to
sure
do
you want to
this?
do this? It's me." And then if they
You
go
know who you're
again,
fucking
then
with,
then
right?
He kills him. Yeah.
Yeah, I honestly, I wish that I would have. So when I went and picked him up from the airport, I hadn't heard any episodes of Icebreakers yet.
Yeah.
So I still had the picture of Chuck Liddell in my mind that I think pretty much everybody has. But now after listening to the show, I was like, oh shit, I could have fucking broed down with him while I was there because he's honestly a really nice, reasonable guy. Don't fuck with him.
Yeah. Don't fuck.
If you fuck with him, like if you put him in a situation where he's gonna fight you, like where he has no choice but to fight you, then
You're
yeah,
dead.
he's just gonna fucking do it. He's gonna fucking knock you out. What I like, there's a story that he tells on Icebreakers about some of the guys that he used to work as a bouncer with.
Yeah.
Where people wouldn't want to fight him, but they would want to fight one of his friends who knew. I think his friend knew like jujitsu or something.
Yeah. They're all badasses.
So he was like, "Wait, you got to understand. If you fight me, I'm a nice guy. I'm just going to knock you out. If you fuck with him, you're going to need knee surgery." I love that story. So yeah, check out Icebreakers. It's coming out very soon, probably going to be out by the time this episode releases?
Yeah, I think it's coming out next week. Well, I think it comes out the same time and day as our show. So
I think most of the shows come out on a Monday.
But
Mondays are good days for the Drinkin' Bros fans, or
Yeah.
for the Tetherball Academy Media fans.
Yep.
So, also, if you donate to the Drinkin' Bros Patreon account, you get access to the Friday Night Jack Sesh.
Yep.
You get access to Ross Patterson Unsert, which is just Ross getting fucked up on whatever he has lying around and just talking about literally everything. There's no way that he can post that show on YouTube because every single episode is going to get flagged.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, or anywhere probably.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, honestly, some of the shit that he says on Unsert probably shouldn't be said. Thankfully, he's in a position where he can say stuff like that.
He's saying it on purpose.
He's
pushing the limits.
He's purposely trying to be
people.
inflammatory.
Of course, let's not forget Rocom.
Oh yeah, we would definitely like to thank Rocom for creating our intro song, and he created our logo.
He does the intro song and the outro song that's playing right now.
Oh yeah,
and he did he did like all the little shits, like the little 5-second clip, 5-second outro, intro. He did like 10 versions of the song for us.
Yeah, Rocom's the best. He's also he's also been doing some TikTok videos that he's been posting on Instagram, which are fucking hilarious. You can follow him at Rocom. Let's see. I think you can follow us on Instagram at Iconoblast Podcast, at Joel R. Benner, at Coop Nukem.
Coop posts a lot. He's got a really interesting.
Oh, Instagram. Dude, I am so fucking active on social media. It's insane. Like I don't know how I find the time to make all those posts and still
every day
and still like write all the stuff for the show. Write stuff for American Party Podcast, write stuff for fake news. Like I'm just busy 24/7.
It's so busy. Your Instagram's busy.
Yeah, oh yeah, my Instagram is so fucking busy. It's just popping off all the time.
How many posts now? Like 6?
I think I might have
2 years, 3 years.
I think I might have 14 over the course of 2 years. I repost other stuff in my story.
Yeah, lots of reposts.
Anytime somebody tags me in something, I repost it in my story, and then aside from that, I don't want to disparage my Instagram account because I want people to follow.
You're working on it. You're getting better at it.
I'm working hard.
But the one to follow is the Iconoblast Podcast.
Yeah, follow Iconoblast Podcast.
Coop's actually really good at replying to every single person that messages us.
Oh, yeah, anybody that either if...
And you need to start writing little jokes and posting them in the story. I think it would be funny.
It would be. But, I'm just fucking... I got so much shit going on, man. It's hard for me to find time to do that stuff. But yeah, if you send us a message at Iconoblast Podcast on Instagram, or if you send us an email, iconoblastpodcast@gmail.com, then you're going to get a response. We both try to make a point of responding to people that
and if you guys are fucking sick and tired of all this Julius Caesar shit, send us an email of what topics you'd like Coop to fucking do, and I will force him to do it.
Yep, he will. And also, if you are...
or if you're loving the Julius Caesar
loving the Julius Caesar stuff,
say that too.
If you want us to go even deeper into Julius Caesar, fuck you, Joel. I love Julius Caesar.
I know you do.
If you want us to go even deeper into the Julius Caesar topic, I can make this as deep as you want, baby.
Yeah, he'll make a whole episode about the shape, size, and color of Julius Caesar's asshole.
I've got a lot of information about Julius Caesar's balloon knot.
Leather Cheerio.
It's burnt leather Cheerio. All right, well that's been it for this episode. We will catch you guys in the next episode. This has been the Iconoblast Podcast. My name is Matt Cooper.
I'm Joel.
Reminding you to never take anything at face value.
Sick.